Good evening or good morning, happy weekend or happy weekdays. This is Walid in another interesting and entertaining video. Greetings, global citizens from everywhere. Thank you so much for tuning in my channel and thank you so much for watching me to learn something new every single day, well, probably every single week. Now, thank you so much for checking my channel and trying to learn something new in English. In our channel, I try to present all the kind of English lessons that can be helpful to you to improve your English, to make your English so much stronger, to be able to produce good quality of English, whether that's in accuracy or fluency or productivity. But remember something, if you don't time yourself every single day to practice enough, probably your agility or your ability to be speaking may diminish by the course of time. And that is just natural for any kind of product or any kind of item that you have at home at your disposal that you leave without using. That just reminded me of an old generator that I bought. That reminds me actually of my old generator that I bought last year and I left in the back of the house for all summertime. And now when I wanted to use it in winter, I just found that it just became rusty. So anything that you leave without using becomes rusty. That's why in English we say, excuse my rusty French or excuse my rusty Spanish or Italian or German. In our episode of today, we try to learn something new. Probably it's not an English lesson as much as it's a listening English lesson. Well, does that make it an English lesson? Of course. One thing that I am proud of actually, and I want to say it directly, is that when you watch my channel, even if you don't get anything new, well, you get English listening. I am not acting as a native speaker, but I can tell you that whatever I've learned over the past 15 years of teaching English and learning English and being an English learner and being an English teacher has given me the chance to reshape, truncate, summarize all the paths that I've gone through, all the experiences. I'm just shrinking them and reproducing them, repackaging them to you so that they become clear to you, to be understood, to be learned from the kind of lesson that I am presenting to you here. Now, in our episode again, oh my God,
I'm just taking a long time to tell you what this lesson is about. I have 100 tips
for you to be able to produce good quality English. Now, these might not be all useful to you, but remember something, even if you listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, maybe 15 of them, they might be helpful to you to improve your listening. Now, when it comes to listening, there's something that I want to tell you about. It's very important. Listen to everything you come across, but don't blame yourself. Don't go hard on yourself to say, well, I do not understand a lot of what I hear. Because some of the listening you're listening to comes from very professional English writers. And they write to a specific kind of audience. They write to native speakers. Just because they write to native speakers does not mean that this text is qualifiable to be listened to by you. Maybe you can challenge yourself to listen to this kind of listening or this kind of video. Maybe watching a video from the Wild West. You might not get all the words that they say because they talk about horses, they talk about wildlife, they talk about pistols, guns, revolvers, all kind of weapons and something else.
I do hail from Riata Pass, which is in the county of San Saba, being the which why the San Saba songbird is my sobriquet of preference.
So not everything is applicable in English to your ear. maybe exposing your ear to different kind of accents and different kind of dialects is going to help your ear be trained to understand and become perceptible of new ideas and new language pronunciation. However, let's jump to the tips that I've prepared for you. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Be confident. People can only correct your mistakes when they hear you make them. Surround yourself in English. Put yourself in all English-speaking environment where you can learn passively. The best way to learn is through speaking. Practice every day. Make yourself a study plan. Decide how much time a week you're going to spend studying and stick to it. Establish a routine. Now, a routine is very important, and I always talk about this word. This is pretty much the first thing I train my students, my learners, to work on, is to tell their daily routine and developing a plan, a sketchup of their daily routine and what they can do in every single day. But developing a routine is very important to you too. Tell your family and friends about your study plan. Get them to push you to study, and also don't let them interrupt you. Practice the 4 core skills of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. They all need to be worked on for you to improve. Keep a notebook of new words you learn. Use them in sentences and try to say them at least 3 times when you speak. Do a lesson at least once a day. Memorization of lists is one of the most common ways of learning vocabulary for a test. It's only good exercise for short-term studying because you often do not retain the information that you have learned for a test. If you're not a morning person, study in the afternoon. You will find words easier to remember if you try to remember an example sentence using the word rather than the word on its own. Plan to take a test. You'll find that you work harder when you need to study for something. Saying that, it's better not to study just to take a test. Think of the bigger picture, what you can do when you have a good command of English. How will the quality of your life improve? Think about that. Being able to talk to foreigners in English and communicating, laughing, and just making good friendships with them. That's awesome, you know? Give yourself a long-term goal. Focus on working towards it. Give yourself short-term goals too and reward yourself when you achieve each one. Create an atmosphere in which you want to learn. Not because you have to. You will learn more when you're learning because you want to. Know what works best for you. Think about what methods have been successful for you in the past and stick with them. I always tell my friends, I am not going to install a new software or new language operating system software. I'm just going to update what you have. So I'm just updating their operating system of English. And that's what we have to do. We're building cumulatively on what we know, what we have, rather than just deleting, formatting your memory and just starting over. That's not going to be possible because this is not how the brain works. And just drawing the analogy of formatting and computer and these kind of expressions is just to make the idea closer to your mind to understand and process. Figure out how you learn. It can be by memorization, reading, speaking, summarizing, or other methods. Find out how you study best. It can be in a quiet place, by yourself, or with a group. Get help. If you don't understand something, you've got to ask someone. Ask your teacher, classmates, or friends for help. Review and review and review. I would say review, 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 review. 7 times over a span of 14 days. That's how you remember things much better and much longer. It's not a good idea to study on your own for more than 30 minutes at a time. Take regular breaks, get some fresh air, and stretch your legs. Don't be in such a hurry to move up a level. Concentrate on the level you are at now. Watch DVDs rather than TV. It's better to use something that you can watch over and over again to catch information you might have missed the first time. And we have treasure. This treasure is called YouTube. On YouTube, you can come across people who are like us, learners and probably teachers, who give you kinds of advice, different kinds of advice. Stick with them. Try to learn. Try to have a niche. Try to follow a mentor. Try to follow a style. Try to imitate, mimic some people. It's very normal until your personality and your character in English takes its own shape and its own direction, and then from there you can automatically build on what you've learned. Again, to the point of satisfaction. Watching TV only gives you the chance to hear something correctly first time. This is better for high-level students. It can be great practice for speaking to native English speakers, so you don't have to ask them to repeat themselves. Read graded readers. These books are specially written for your level. Read a whole novel, you can do it. You'll feel great afterwards. Well, I remember back in 2016, I was teaching a group of my friends in an institute, and then I gave them a graded reader novel, and it was for the intermediate level, and it was called The Big Apple, and it was talking about New York. Until this minute, they remember that story. They remember that novel. So reading graded readers that are really tailored for your level is an amazing thing. It's going to help you improve your skills in that level. Children's books have easier words and are a good alternative to graded readers. Newspapers are a good place to find passive constructs. Read through an article and see if you can find the passive sentences, for example. Read for the general meaning first. Don't worry about understanding every word, and then go back and look up new words. For a word you don't understand in a sentence, look at the other words around it. They will give you a hint. Try to guess the meaning from the context. Learn root words. They'll help you guess the meaning of words. For example, script means to write. Min means small. When you learn a new word, think of all its other forms. Beautiful, it's an adjective. Beauty is a noun. Beautifully is an adverb. Learn prefixes. This, un, and re. And suffixes like ly, meant, and full. These will help you to figure out the meaning of words and build your vocabulary. English, unlike Japanese or French, uses word stress. For new words, count the syllables and find where the stress is. Only one stress per word and always on a vowel. 2-syllable verbs have a stress on the second syllable, like begin. 2-syllable nouns, teacher, and an adjective, happy, stress the first. Use English whenever you can. It's as simple as that. The other tip is don't translate directly from Arabic. But some people do that, and that's fine. But to some level. After that, you have to upgrade your skills so that you become fully independent on your English lexicon. You use your English vocabulary to produce English structures that are understood by people. Think in English to improve your fluency. Talk to yourself, but not on the bus, otherwise people will think you have gone crazy. You can't learn English from a book only, like driving a car. you can only learn through doing it. So do the language. I always tell my friends, do the language. Don't just study it, but you have to do it. You have to put it into practice. I would say, this is my second tip, the most natural way to learn language is through talking. Or the most natural way of learning grammar of any language is through talking. I would say, listen to this tip from me. The most natural way of learning any language grammar is through talking. And through talking, what we do is simply we go through the geography of language and independently sitting behind the wheel and driving your English car, and then looking at the geography of the place, looking at the mountain here and the hill there. Now let's assume that this mountain is called nouns and that adjective is called, well, and that hill is called an adjective, and there is this valley that is called verbs, and there's this oasis here that is called adverbs. So language has this analogy or similar picture of an of the geography of any place. So the best way of learning that is to naturally and automatically and independently discovering it by yourself, trying to learn and understand the complete and the natural shape of it by yourself is going to help you understand language better if you just focus on checking out the geography by yourself authentically, not from, only studying. I have this firm belief that might be subject to change over the course of or the span of time, inshallah, but the idea that you can never learn a language by just studying. You have to put it into talking, you have to do it, you have to practice it, you have to engage with people. I always use this word. Probably if you're watching my channel, if you're following me on YouTube, you know that I always use this word because this is one of the words that I actively put into practice. And I'm not a native speaker of English, of course, but I put as many words that I learn over the span of time that I spent reading or talking to my native speakers friends. They come up with these regularly active words that I just put them into practice. I just take them from them and then I put them into practice by using them. And this is what you have to do. Now, I know that the video has been a little bit longer than normal, so I'll divide this episode into 2 episodes. In the next episode, we'll finish the rest of the tips for understanding how you can improve your English, building on 100 tips that I will introduce them to you consequently. Thank you so much for listening. مدرب لغة وليد خالد.